Hey y'all, Michelle Raza here with the Finding Yourself Book Club, and today we're going to continue on Robert Heinlein's Stranger in a Strange Land for our Science Fiction Saturday series. This is just a little bit of fun, really has nothing to do with anything else that we talk about, adult children of emotionally immature parents or how to succeed in romantic relationships. It's just a book that really touched my heart in a lot of ways. It's a work of fiction and I enjoy it, and it's Saturday, so we're gonna have a bit of fun. If you do want to follow our other channels, please do subscribe, like this video. If you're watching, I appreciate it. Love your comments, love hanging out with you guys. I am a bit of an introvert, believe it or not, so the virtual interactions are actually quite good for me. So without further ado, I will get started here. So we were in Stranger in a Strange Land, chapter 3, and I just try to read about 10-15 minutes at a time, so I'll continue chapter 3 here and go as far as I can. Smith had been aware of the visit by the doctors, but he had grokked at once that their intentions were benign. It was not necessary for the major part of him to be jerked back from where he was. At the hour in the morning, when human nurses slap patients' faces with cold, wet cloths under the pretense of washing them, Smith returned from his journey. He speeded up his heart, increased his respiration, and again took note of his surroundings, viewing them with serenity. He looked the room over, noting without discrimination and with praise all its details, both important and unimportant. He was, in fact, seeing it for the first time, as he had been incapable of unfolding it when he had been brought there the day before. This commonplace room was not commonplace to him. There was nothing remotely like it on all Mars, nor did it resemble the wedge-shaped metal-walled compartments of the Champion. But having relived the events linking his nest to this place, he was now prepared to accept it, commend it, and in some degree to cherish it. He became aware that there was another living creature in the room with him. A granddaddy Longlegs was making a futile journey down from the ceiling, spinning as it went. Smith watched it with delight and wondered if it were a nestling form of man. Dr. Archer Frame, the intern who had relieved Thaddeus, walked in at that moment. "Good morning," he said. "How do you feel?" Smith turned the question over in his mind. The first phrase he recognized as a formal sound, requiring no answer, but which could be repeated or might not be. The second phrase was listed in his mind with several possible translations. If Dr. Nelson used it, it meant one thing. If Captain Von Tromp used it, it was a formal sound, needing no reply. He felt that dismay which so often overtook him in trying to communicate with these creatures, a frightening sensation unknown to him before he met men. But he forced his body to remain calm and risked an answer. "Feel good." "Good," the creature echoed. "Dr. Nelson will be along in a minute. Feel like some breakfast?" All four symbols in the query were in Smith's vocabulary that he had trouble believing that he had heard them rightly. He knew that he was food, but he did not feel like food, nor had he any warning that he might be selected for such an honor. He had not known that the food supply was such that it was necessary to reduce the corporate group. He was filled with mild regret, since there was still so much to grok of these new events, but no reluctance. But he was excused from the effort of translating an answer by the entrance of Dr. Nelson. The ship's doctor had had little rest and less sleep. He wasted no time on speech, but inspected Smith and the array of dials in silence. Then he turned to Smith. "Bowels move?" he asked. Smith understood this. Nelson always asked about it. "No, not yet. We'll take care of that. But first, you eat. Orderly, fetch in that tray." Nelson fed him 2 or 3 bites, then required him to hold the spoon and feed himself. It was tiring, but gave him a feeling of gay triumph, for it was the first unassisted action he had taken since reaching this oddly distorted space. He cleaned out the bowl and remembered to ask, "Who is this?" so that he could praise his benefactor. "What is this, you mean?" Nelson answered. "It's a synthetic food jelly based on amino acids, and now you know as much as you did before. Finished? All right, climb out of that bed." Beg pardon? It was an attention symbol which he had learned was useful when communication failed. "I said, get out of there. Sit up, stand up, walk around. You can do it. Sure, you're weak as a kitten, but you'll never put on muscle floating in that bed." Nelson opened a valve at the head of the bed. Water drained out. Smith restrained a feeling of insecurity, knowing that Nelson cherished him. Shortly, he lay on the floor of the bed with the watertight cover wrinkled around him. Nelson added, "Dr. Frame, take his other elbow. We have to help him and steady him." With Dr. Nelson to encourage him and both of them to help him, Smith stood up and stumbled over the rim of the bed. "Steady, now stand up on your own," Nelson directed. "Don't be afraid, we'll catch you if necessary." He made the effort and stood alone, a slender young man with underdeveloped muscles and overdeveloped chest. His hair had been cut in the champion, and his whiskers removed and inhibited. His most marked feature was his bland, expressionless, almost babyish face, set with eyes which would have seemed more at home in a man of 90. He stood alone for a moment, trembling slightly, then tried to walk. He managed 3 shuffling steps and broke into a sunny, childlike smile. "Good boy," Nelson applauded. He tried another step, began to tremble violently, and suddenly collapsed. They barely managed to break his fall. "Damn," Nelson fumed. "He's gone into another one. Here, help me lift him into the bed. No, fill it first." Frame did so, cutting off the flow when the cover skin floated 6 inches from the top. They lugged him to it, awkwardly because he had frozen into the fetal position. "Get a collar pillow under his neck," instructed Nelson, "and call me when he comes out of it. No, let me sleep. I need it, unless something worries you. We'll walk him again this afternoon, and tomorrow we'll start systematic exercise. In 3 months, I'll have him swinging through the trees like a monkey. There's nothing really wrong with him." "Yes, doctor," Frame answered doubtfully. "Oh yes, when he comes out of it, teach him how to use the bathroom. Have the nurse help you. I don't want him to fall." "Yes, sir. Any particular method? I mean, how?" Show him, of course. Demonstrate. He probably won't understand much that you say to him, but he's bright as a whip. He'll be bathing himself by the end of the week." Smith ate lunch without help. Presently, a male orderly came in to remove his tray. The man glanced around, then came to the bed and leaned over him. "Listen," he said in a low voice. "Listen. I've got a fat proposition for you." "Beg pardon?" "A deal, a bargain, a way for you to make a lot of money, fast and easy." "Money? What is money?" "Never mind that philosophy. Everybody needs money. Now listen, I'll have to talk fast because I can't stay in here long, and it's taken a lot of fixing to get me in here at all. I represent Peerless Features. We'll pay you $60,000 for your exclusive story, and it won't be a bit of trouble to you. We've got the best ghostwriters in the business. You just talk and answer questions. They put it together." He whipped out a piece of paper. "Just read this and sign it. I've got the down payment with me." Smith accepted the paper, stared thoughtfully at it, holding it upside down. The man looked at him and muffled an exclamation. "Lordy, don't you read English?" Smith understood this well enough to answer, "No." "Well, here, I'll read it to you. Then you just put your thumbprint in the square and I'll witness it. I, the undersigned Valentine Michael Smith, sometimes known as the Man from Mars, do grant and assign to Peerless Features Limited all and exclusive rights to my true fact story to be titled, 'I Was a Prisoner on Mars in exchange for—'" "Orderly!" Dr. Frame was standing in the door of the watchroom. The paper disappeared into the man's clothes. "Coming, sir. I was just getting this tray." "What were you reading?" "Nothing." "I saw you." "Never mind. Come out of there quickly. This patient is not to be disturbed." The man obeyed. Dr. Frame closed the door behind him. Smith lay motionless for the next half hour, but try as he might, he could not grok it at all. Okay, so in the next chapter we get introduced to Jillian, but it is a bit of a long one. If it was short, I was going to go ahead and move on, but I guess I'll catch you guys next Saturday. Stranger in a Strange Land, one of my favorites. Pick up your own copy if you'd like and follow along or read ahead. It's a great work by Robert Heinlein. It has some really cool ideas. A lot of it is fiction, science fiction, written in, I think, the 1970s, so some of it is way out there, but it's got some cool concepts. Yeah, 1961 was the initial publication. It's got some cool concepts, and then the original work, I think, so the publisher had him cut it down, and then his wife, his widow, actually published a version with the actual original publication, so it was like 70,000 additional words. Very cool stuff. I mean, we'll get into it as we move on, but right now he's just trying to get used to Earth and the gravity field and how heavy it is, and then, you know, people are snappish around him. He's not allowed to see women, but Jillian Boardman is a woman, and she is quite a woman according to Heinlein. So it's just an exciting book, and it's fun. So enjoy having this time with you guys. If you're hanging out with me, I appreciate it. Please do like and subscribe. It helps us YouTubers a lot. And if you are into more serious stuff and you would like to get some self-help, I mean, the whole point of this channel is more self-help type material. Please do check out, we have 2 different series. One is covering Lindsay Gibson's work, and it's really focused on parent-child relationships, growing up with emotionally immature parents or emotionally immature people around you. So really trying to overcome that. And then the other one is on John Gottman's What Makes Love Last. We also cover a little bit of the 7 principles of making marriage work, so relationship type stuff. I also have a playlist compiling a lot of Gottman's own videos. He's out there, right? If you search Gottman on the internet, you'll find him. I actually found him, I was watching Tony Robbins. I don't know if you guys are Tony Robbins fans, but he's pretty cool. And I was watching Tony Robbins talk about relationships, and of course he has his own perspective. And then Gottman came on and talked about his love lab and his research into relationships and all of that cool stuff. And I just got immediately hooked. I mean, I'm such a nerd. If you can't tell already, I'm such a nerd. And so I got super hooked and started watching a lot of Gottman's videos, and then started reading. I think the first book I read was The 7 Principles of Making Marriage Work. And out of there, if you take nothing out of there, go watch the series that I posted on the stress reducing conversation, because he basically teaches you what to say and what not to say in order to support a romantic partner, a friend, a coworker, whoever you're trying to talk to. Most of us, if you haven't been trained on it, we're actually pretty terrible at conversation, and I was pretty terrible too. So go back and watch those videos. But again, thanks for spending a bit of your Saturday with me. I hope you like this series. It's just a little bit of fun, and it's a great book. I think it'll take us probably 2 years to get through it, but I'll keep posting on Saturdays. So please do like, subscribe, and tell your friends about the channel. And I hope that you enjoy the more serious stuff as well. Take care. Have a great week.